The International Labour Organization has released its Global Wage Report for 2022, which highlights the impact that COVID and rising inflation is having on purchasing power. The study shows a dramatic fall in real monthly wages during the first half of the year. In G20 countries, which account for well over half of the world's employees who earn a wage, real wages fell by 2.2%. And in 4 countries, the UK, Italy, Mexico and Japan, in real terms, wages in 2022 were lower than they were 14 years ago. Well, let's talk now to Rosalia Vazquez-Alvarez, who's an econometrician and wage specialist for the International Labour Organization, who commissioned this report. Welcome to the programme, Rosalia. So we're seeing wages here falling in real terms for the first time since 2008. What's behind it?
Yes, hello, good afternoon. So what you have said is correct. The global wage growth has declined to minus 0.9% across the world. If we take China out, because China has a huge specific weight in this estimate, it has even fallen more globally, which is at minus 1.4%. What's behind it? We think that one of the key factors is, of course, the rise in inflation. As inflation has increased across the world, and it started in 2021, way before the Ukraine crisis, the Ukraine war, then clearly the rise in inflation has eroded real wages, which have declined in a significant number of countries. And as you well said, in advanced G20 economies, it declined by minus 2.2%. In emerging economies, it has actually kept positive at 0.8%, but that's because it has China inside. If we take China out, they have also declined in real terms.
And how has the coronavirus pandemic played into this?
Well, the coronavirus, it's difficult to say because the two crises, the coronavirus crisis and the cost of living crisis, interact at some point between 2021 and 2022. We think that perhaps there has been a decline in nominal wages as a result of a decline in the number of hours worked per worker across the world. So as long as we don't actually recover to pre-COVID levels, it may be the case that some of this decline is due to a decline in nominal wages. But clearly the bulk of the decline is due to increasing cost of living, increasing inflation, and the nominal wages not adjusted for inflation in the vast majority of countries, particularly in high-income countries.
And you mentioned China. Are we seeing the same picture around the world when it comes to wages, or are any countries bucking the trend?
The advanced G20 economies are the ones that are actually suffering the greatest decline, the ones that show the greatest negative growth. There are some countries in emerging economies like Brazil, which is also declining significantly. In fact, in Brazil, wages have declined by 6.9% in 2022. It comes from a previous decline of minus 7% in 2021. But let's just say that the big advanced economies like the US, the UK, countries in the European Union are the ones that are driving the trends in terms of negative growth. And this is because in advanced economies, in high-income countries, inflation is much higher than in low-income countries and emerging economies.
And what about the number of jobs out there? The labour market's not in good shape at the moment. What impact will that have? So
what we see is that employment has actually gone back steadily towards levels seen before the pandemic. What we have also seen is that in many emerging economies, where informality is significant, usually, informality has increased. And what impact it may have if we keep on having wages declining in real terms, that may actually have an impact in terms of job creation at some point in the future. Because, of course, if wages decline, that also means that the purchasing power of families, of workers, of the population in general will decline, and it may have a negative impact in terms of aggregate demand.
Rosalia Vazquez-Alvarez from the ILO, thank you very much for talking to us today.
Thank you to you.